Hello and welcome to Money Matters. Fears of a global recession did not dampen the art market in 2022. Buyers dug deep to pay for masterpieces from the likes of Cézanne, Franz Marc, and Jean-Michel Basquiat. The multi-billion-dollar market proved its strength amid war, COVID, and the threat of global recession.
The art world is a multi-billion-dollar industry. According to a report by investment bank UBS, sales topped $65 billion in 2021. And galleries at art fairs around the world were hoping for similarly bumper business this year. Fairs opened their doors to hundreds of galleries from 42 countries and more than 60,000 visitors. It was a return to pre-pandemic form. At Art Basel in Switzerland in June, the fair was keen to show it was evolving with the times, with NFT artworks on display. NFTs are units of data with a unique blockchain code that acts as proof of ownership. Since they first emerged, the digital assets generated tens of billions of dollars in sales. Sotheby's embraced the trend, launching its own NFT marketplace last year. The auction house reported $100 million in NFT sales in 2021.
There is clearly a linkage with cryptocurrencies. There's clearly an intersection with technology and, a younger generation who are more natively digital in their habits and who maybe wouldn't naturally understand physical art, but instinctively understand and are attracted to digital art.
At the more traditional end of the art world, there have been some blockbuster auctions this year. In March, Christie's auction house sold this Franz Marc painting titled The Foxes for $49 million. And a Francis Bacon triptych went for $44 million. In May in New York, rare contemporary artworks went under the hammer. Andy Warhol continued to show he had achieved more than just 15 minutes of fame when this 1986 self-portrait sold for $18 million. This Richter went for $30 million. The top lot was an untitled artwork by Mart Rothko, which was bought for $48 million. This untitled 1982 painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat achieved an eye-watering $85 million at a Phillips auction. It was seen here in Taipei City, one of the stops on a global tour before it went under the hammer. In June in London, this sculpture by Jeff Koons sold for just over its estimate, achieving $11.7 million. It was donated by Ukrainian billionaire couple Viktor and Olida Pinchuk. The proceeds went towards humanitarian aid for Ukraine. There were special moments as well. In July, one of the surviving copies of William Shakespeare's first folio, the first edition of collections of his plays, was auctioned at Sotheby's. It fetched nearly $2.5 million.
Shakespeare First Folio is without question the most important publication in the history of English literature. Without this book, no Macbeth, no Twelfth Night, no Winter's Tale. About half of Shakespeare's plays were first published in this volume.
More contemporary masterpieces went under the hammer at Sotheby's in October. Another Bacon and a Richter were sold. 192 Farman was in 1966. It was the artist's first ever color chart painting and first ever abstract painting, a huge shift in 20th century art. Art from the collection of the late Microsoft co-founder Paul G. Allen was auctioned by Christie's. During his lifetime, he bought some of the best works by the most famous artists in the world. Large Interior W11 by Lucien Freud went for $86 million. Paul Cézanne's La Montagne Sainte-Victoire achieved $137 million. Les Poseurs Ensemble by Georges Seurat was the top lot, selling for over $149 million. The entire collection raised more than $1.5 billion, with all proceeds donated to charitable causes. Despite a rocky global economic outlook with rising inflation, high energy costs, and fears of a global recession, the sky-high prices achieved at this auction showed art buyers were not cutting back.
Interestingly, the art market can be slightly counterintuitive. When there are financial uncertainties, masterpieces by the likes of Monet, Picasso, Cézanne, Hockney or Freud behind me here often not only just hold their value, but you see deeper competition for them. A Monet will always be a Monet. A Cézanne will always be a Cézanne.
And for something a little more unusual, this Aston Martin stunt car, used in the James Bond film No Time to Die, sold for $3.4 million. It was part of a dedicated James Bond auction at Christie's, with all proceeds going to charity. Another unusual auction item was this disc. It contains the only recording of a 2021 studio session of Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind. The disc uses new technology called Ionic Original, which aims to dramatically improve the sound quality of the recording. It creates a single disc with a protective coating so it sounds perfect no matter how many times it's played. There is only one recording of the song which will never be released publicly, making this a very exclusive piece of musical property.
The sound quality is utterly amazing. You hear his voice in a texture that you just can't get in any other format. And it's a much older Bob Dylan. This is 60 years after he first recorded it in July of 1962.
It sold for over $1.7 million. Quarantine-free travel between Hong Kong and the mainland was restored, but not everyone was happy with the immediate economic results. Certain pharmacies in the North District saw 20% growth in business after the restoration of travel. A large number of shops in Sheung Shui restocked in preparation for an expected influx of mainland travelers, but not all shopkeepers are happy with the business results. Some pharmacies also noted the lack of business growth in mainland tourist hotspots such as Yuen Long, Sheung Shui, and Mong Kok. Visitor traffic north from Hong Kong was reportedly heavier than traffic south from China. All officials at the Federal Reserve's December meeting agreed the central bank should slow the pace of its aggressive interest rate increases. The move would allow them to continue increasing the cost of credit to control inflation, but in a gradual way meant to limit the risks of a recession. The minutes of the meeting showed policymakers focused on controlling the pace of price increases that threatened to run hotter than expected. And they also worried about any misperception in financial markets that their commitment to fighting inflation was flagging.
The Fed is trying to thread the needle and balance the risks between over-tightening and bringing the economy into too severe of a recession, and the risks, on the other hand, of letting inflation fester and become a problem over the long term. So they're trying to balance the risks there.
With inflation in the world's biggest economy dropping for a fifth straight month to 7.1%, the minutes put a premium on explaining the decision to move to smaller rate increases should not be construed as a weakening of its commitment to bring inflation back to the central bank's 2% target.
The Fed, what they're trying to do right now is, balance risks of making sure that inflation gets down much closer to 2% and stays near 2%, while also trying not to over-tighten. And so by slowing down after executing this rapid tightening over 2022, they're going to be able to thread the needle more easily and take in the data as they make these decisions.
Policymakers approved a 0.5 percentage point rate increase at the last meeting. The increase was a step back from the 0.75 percentage point hikes used through much of 2022, bringing U.S. rates to between 4.25% and 4.5%.
Coming up on Money Matters, luxury bargains in Ho Man Tin. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. Ho Man Tin is an area away from the hustle and bustle of the city where the air is relatively clean. But it's not an area that normally attracts the attention of expat house hunters. Recently, the downturn has forced investors to slash prices. Alice Khan found a bargain unit that comes with a garden.
This week, we checked out a residential area in Kowloon City District, Ho Man Tin. The old Ho Man Tin was different from today's area. It was once cultivated land and the streams from surrounding hills flowed into the fields. The area's name, Ho and Man, are both Chinese surnames. Tin means field, so reflected the cultivated fields which were owned by the Ho and Man families of old. In the 1950s and 1960s, the eastern hills of Ho Man Tin became a resettlement area for refugees from China. The government later built the Ho Man Tin estate. Today, the higher-end apartments built more recently are the favorites of expats, as it is close to Metropolitan University and has easy access to Central by bus and the MTR. This hillside project offers 6 blocks, 561 units, with saleable area ranging from 350 square feet to 1,564 square feet. Back in December 2018, the average price is $28,800 per square foot. Since then, due to COVID and the US interest rate hikes, it has fallen to as low as $17,600 per square foot. So we searched for a bargain flat in this project. The flat we visited is 837 square feet on the ground floor. The owner listed the flat at $25 million 1 year ago. Now he's forced to cut the price down to $17.5 million.
Vincent, how is this flat? This is rusty.
Alice, actually, this flat is only 6 years old, and the owner replaced the wooden toilet door into this giant metal door. As you can see, a lot of studs and rust. And this is industrial design.
Oh, this dining table is also a metal.
It's actually a glass top table. It just put some coating on it, and it looks like a metal table.
And the lighting as well.
Yes, Alice. You see, these are metal. It's actually from a car factory.
Very interesting.
And as you see, there's a lot of wood, and you see the wooden ceiling. And in industrial design, they usually use a lot of raw material, comes with the nature, just like metal, stone, like the floor.
The owner built a wooden closet along the wall in the dining area.
Well, this dining area seems quite spacious. We still got quite lots of room to walk.
Yes, the dining area is 100 square feet. And as you see, it fits a 6 people table.
Next, we checked out the living room.
Hey Vincent, how big is this sitting room? It seems quite spacious.
The sitting area is 130 square feet, and because the ceiling is very tall, it's have 13 feet tall, so that's why you feel a lot larger.
Then this sofa, can we put a larger sofa and it's not really that deep?
If the future buyer wants some bigger sofa, you can put some deeper one like here to here, because the width of the living area is 13 feet long.
You can put a large coffee table in the middle as well.
The owner has kept the wall bare, which makes the living room look larger. The wall on the other side is decorated with stones.
it has a very huge TV here. Can we replace it with some other furniture?
Yes, you can replace it as here as a fireplace over here, and you can put some chairs on it here, and you can put some sculpture and artifacts on top of the fireplace.
Vincent, actually this flat is on the ground floor, and actually it's quite noisy because it is just behind the reception. Then what's so special about this flat?
Oh, Alice, let me show you the special features. This is a special unit with garden. It extends the living area to outside.
Then how big is this garden?
This garden is 413 square feet.
Are these trees belong to the owner?
No, it's from the estate.
Ample tree growth provides shade and privacy for the residents.
How many units with a garden in this project?
In this project, only 20 units. It is very rare, and on the market for listing is only 3 to 4. So this unit is really special and very rare.
The owner built a barbecue area in the garden.
For barbecue party, and as you see, there's a washing hand stands, and also there's a lot of storage for the cold that can make a barbecue party.
Then how many people can fit here?
It fits 10 people easily.
Then how about this area?
This area is like a tiny bar. You can put some drinks with friends and enjoy the outdoor environment.
Where do we put the table?
Let me show you. You see here, you can put a table and some chairs here. And also, you can put a sun umbrella, big one, over here. This area nearly 80 square feet.
Next, we checked out the bedrooms.
It's huge. Is it original layout?
No, the owner combined 2 bedrooms into 1. The original layout is 90 square feet each room, and the owner locked down this wall right here, combined 2 into 1.
Why did he make these changes?
Because he loves space, and also he wants to put a king-size bed, but only 90 square feet is not quite enough. So now this master bedroom is over 180 square feet. It fits a king-size bed. And also the owner built in 2 wardrobes along both sides, and this one is for his, and that one's for her.
If the future buyer wants to build a wall, is it possible?
Yes, the future buyer can change back the layout, put a wall on this side, and the headboard's still right here.
Originally, the guest toilet was only 30 square feet. The owner combined the guest toilet and the master ensuite bathroom.
He broke down the wall right here, make a glass panel right here to separate the toilet and the bathing area. And the bathing area originally here is the master ensuite. The toilet is here, and the bathtub is right over there along the wall.
Now the bathroom is 80 square feet, larger than some bedrooms in the newer nano units. Then Vincent showed us another room which is 90 square feet.
Alice, this is, it was a master bedroom. You see, the owner loves birds. This room, it was for his parrot.
Then what if the future buyer wants to turn it back into a bedroom? Because probably not everyone likes birds. Then how can you lay out the bed then?
They can demolish all the shelves, and they can put the bed right over here, a queen-size bed.
There's a sliding door that leads to the garden. The kitchen is about 60 square feet. It is in good shape and equipped with a steamer, wine fridge, and oven.
So Alice, how do you feel?
Not bad. Is the owner selling at 17.5 million, right? Then is it a bargain?
Yes, this is a bargain. they have already reduced it 30% discount. Also, the owner originally purchased back in 2016 at 18.33 million. It is selling at loss.
Why is this offer such kind of attractive price?
They have a lot of competition in this area. They have around 300 listings. Maybe half of it are selling at loss.
Even with the deep cut in the price, the owner has had trouble finding a buyer due to all the changes in the layout. We asked surveyor Kit Chung for an opinion.
The current asking price of around $20,900 per square foot. I think this is a reasonable asking price. Having considered this unit is a special unit, I think it should be transacted in a range of around $20,000 per square foot to $21,000 per square foot.
Kit says it's not easy to sell in the short term.
We want to close the deal in a shorter time frame. The seller can try to give more discount on the price, such as further 5 to 10% discount.
Almost 4 out of 5 new cars sold in Norway last year were battery-powered. Seeking to become the first nation to end the sale of petrol and diesel cars by 2025, oil-producing Norway has until now exempted battery-powered, fully electric vehicles from taxes imposed on rivals using internal combustion engines. Still, there are challenges that need to be overcome.
The biggest problem for consumers is that it's really difficult to pay for high-speed charging in Norway. You need 10 to 15 apps to be a well-prepared EV owner. And we know that many people are delaying their purchase of an EV because of that. So that's why we're expecting the government to come up with a charging strategy very soon. They have promised to deliver one, but we haven't seen it yet.
The share of new electric vehicles rose to 79% in 2022, from 65% in 2021, and from a mere 2.9% a decade ago.
The Norwegian EV policy has been a great success, and that is due to the very generous taxation system for EVs. Today, 1 of 5 cars in Norway are electrical. And we are a bit concerned, however, because the government is now starting to increase the taxes on EV, and we are afraid that it will reduce the sale on EVs.
America's Tesla had a 12.2% share of the overall Norwegian car market, making it the #1 brand for a second consecutive year, ahead of Germany's Volkswagen with 11.6%. The Model Y was the single most popular model, ahead of Volkswagen's electric ID.4 in second place, and VW-owned Skoda's Enyaq in third.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Next week on Money Matters, your fortunes in the year of the rabbit. Bye for now.